Hello everybody, I'll just give it that couple minutes to let people log on. Want to have an important talk today. I guess it's more about fear and people coming forward with their names to sign our registered letter to the UNSC. It's on my timeline post this video. I'll put that link to the document, page 1 to 8, so that everybody can read it. And I've tagged Kelly Craft in this. She's the ex-former UNSC USA representative, one of the 5. It's now Linda Thomas Greenfield. She's getting to know the whole group now too. I've reached out to her as well. I want to talk about this letter that we're sending to them, and it's very important, Canadians. I know you're not educated on this. I understand that. Nobody really is. I've really gone very, very far. What we're doing is comparative law. Canada's laws against international law, and it's specific to freedom of movement and freedom of religion. Again, this is all about the idea that our government has enacted freedom of movement like no other nation in the world, specifically right here, the region of Alberta I live in, called the province of Alberta. We talk about that because we've had an unbelievable amount per person per capita compared to every other nation in the world of travelers to Alberta during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our politicians said that's perfectly fine. The charter right of freedom of movement stays in place. Allow everybody from all over the world to come to Alberta. We know the virus that they call a pandemic. They say this. The government agrees to it, says it was a pandemic. Why travel so many people when countries like Russia, which I have Putin's post today, I have that, I'm going to share that later. He shows the history of Russia. I have the full works. Russia's handed that over. I'll even show you a video train of 8 Russians who just finally got back to Russia from North Korea. It took them all this time because borders and flights closed. That was Russia. United States had an aggressive approach to locking down flights and international travel. We see it with France. We see it with China. The only country that was lax was specifically UK on Hong Kong. It's something that Alberta has been matched to. I'm not saying UK is responsible for that. This is our politicians. This is why the letter. Everybody, you have to understand. You have to understand clearly. We've been restricted on so many charter rights and freedoms. They said the Health Act supersedes all of our charter rights and freedoms. That's the argument. But it didn't supersede freedom of movement. The government continued to take in more and more travelers, the most in the world. We even beat the UK per person per capita, even though we followed suit. Everybody has to understand this in international law. While USA and UK and Kelly Craft appreciate it, she was our rep USA Canada before becoming the UNSC ultimate representative. Before that, she was Canada USA. Kelly, I understand your position. As Canadians, we don't just get to say, yeah, 100% USA, and it's not fair to demand that from Canadians when we're no longer on the Security Council. We're not Security Council members. Further, we're not a binding 5 country. If USA can't stand up to China, which it clearly looks like they can't, you guys have signed on from 1971 onward, solidifying China as a binding 5. The only way out is World War III. I don't see Russia and USA declaring any world war, so I take it as they're bound into law. They have that veto and they have that say. Until you guys all change that together, which clearly to me and many legal experts, unless China and all the other 4 agree to disbanding China from the UNSC, they're going to remain in that power privileged position, as is Russia and everybody else. So we have to work within the system you guys created. We as Canadians don't have a right to turn around and condemn China when they can absolutely condemn us. And obviously there's nothing the mighty USA can do about it. There's nothing the mighty Russia can do about it. It's the same as Crimea and what Russia did. There is nothing anybody can do about it. And when we see UNSC members back up countries, like right now Iran, who is enjoying upwards of a $63 a barrel for their heavy oil. Alberta gets 51. I think we're actually down to 48 through differential. They are under tremendous sanctions, ignoring nuclear proliferation, and with all of that, nothing is working on Iran. They're doing very well. They're complaining that USA has crippled them, but clearly in commodities, they're doing extremely well. So I want to show you I got more, and I tagged Roy Powell and Ron Robertson, and that's why I also want to get into what Ron shared with me today on the preamble Canada, and he's looking into all these experts. Ron's been an excellent student of mine. He's just been, Ron Robertson, he's been very, very tuned into me for a couple years, taken some courses I've offered online. He's learned a lot. He learns a lot. Intelligent fella. He's collecting signatures for the party too. He believes in it. For Ron, you sent the preamble talking about Canada's lack of that clause of supremacy of God. Experts have talked about that many years. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. The fact that in Canada, our courts won't recognize it, even though it's talked about in the Charter, it's not in the Canadian preamble. We don't match any of the other countries. Not Russia, not USA. We have a very colonial preamble. Our whole Constitution's buried in it. The Supreme Court of Canada, operating in Canadian law, absolutely cements it. When they leave out to the world stage, they operate in a whole different other fashion. This is our Supreme Court of Canada. I know this from the European Union, top of the top, best legal experts in the world. Highest court in the EU, who works with our Supreme Court here in Canada, including Justice Wagner, who still today refuses to get back to me because I believe it's the colonialism. Justice Wagner is not allowed to. No Supreme Court justice is. I talked to more Supreme Court justices worldwide than I've ever talked to in Canada. I have one out in BC, and usually always talks to me when presented with the question on the autocracy and is the Supreme or Superior Courts bound to Lieutenant Governor and Governor General? Does the government come in and mandate you? I have all the evidence in cases alone where judges have let that go out and it's on record. But when I ask one live, they've all refused to answer a very simple question. And you know, I really truly believe, everybody, it's the Canadian bar. It's why also in the page 1 to 8 letter, I go through why we're asking the UNSC to discount three of the justices on that 18-member justice of the International Criminal Court. 3 of them are trained, and I believe they have their bar from Canada. They absolutely have to be dismissed. So we are asking the UNSC if they allow our case to go through on Pastor Coates' freedom of religion versus our Canadian politicians, Justin Trudeau Prime Minister, Aaron O'Toole official opposition federally, as well as Premier Jason Kenney here in Alberta, and Rachel Notley official opposition. They've all said this isn't a problem. One Charter of Rights and Freedoms higher than the other one. Apparently, we arrest one for utilizing one and not the other for utilizing the other. It's a COVID-19 pandemic ruled by those 5, everybody. Please, I understand fear. Do not be afraid. We have to go forward with this. I know people are scared. I know there's been troll people and even people who claim to be my friend. I'm not ignorant to how people are. They're great at pretending they're all about everything, but they're just there to troll. And when they can't help it, they come forward. They spread fear. They tell you things that aren't real. They tell you you're going to be in trouble for this. You're not. I'm not in any trouble for anything. I've been doing this in the legal system for quite a while. I wouldn't come forward, put my name out here. I don't ask anyone for money. Everybody knows this. I don't reach out. I'm not asking you guys for money. I'm asking for your heart. We don't have a provincial constitution. That's the soul of a region. Just like federally you have a constitution, soul of the nation. We're missing tremendous components to the soul of the nation in Canada. Many other nations have moved on. We have not. This has to be addressed at the highest level in the world because we can't get it addressed here in our legal system. It's clear no legal organ right here in Canada through the Canadian bar and through the colonial system can do anything for us. They'll just take away their bar. That's the reality. That's the reality. The government has full crown power. Our politicians, king and queen, they have a sneaky little setup stolen from the Queen when King George died in 52. They didn't finish the work. Canada continues utilizing full colonialism. It has to end. Somebody has to bring that forward. That's what this is. That's the political party. But this challenge right now for all of you is just putting your name down. Your real name is a Canadian. Going on a letter to the UNSC so we can go to the International Criminal Court. If we don't win those 5, we don't get to go. The letter is written pertaining to the Big 5, guaranteeing them we're not going forward as Canadians against how they administer their governments. It's all about Canada, what Canada has done and its legal framework versus what is international law. I want to know, is all of a sudden magically freedom of movement, a charter right and freedom this high, and freedom of religion another charter right way down here? Anyone who practices this one goes to jail, but anyone in freedom of movement spreading COVID-19, absolutely the reason we have all the variants. Anyone up here doing that, oh, that doesn't count? I don't think so. I think the International Criminal Court will have a very different say on that. And at least we know 4 of the members of the 5 are likely to look at the data when they look at exhibits. This isn't a Donald Trump affidavit I'm going to submit. I'm going to submit, yes, this being the initial affidavit with some credible exhibits embedded in, but the exhibits will come in the case, and you'll all get to see that if they vote us forward. I gave enough exhibits to give them a taste of what's going on so they can chase it themselves. They will find the data. There's much the international community has done all over the world since 1946 to present day. ICC is operating right now. They're running 2 criminal cases right now on human rights violations, 1 clear genocide. And we need that answer answered. If James Coates is to sit in prison like that Mandela did in South Africa, then you know what? Then shouldn't our politicians have to go too, utilizing freedom of movement at such tremendously high levels, higher than any of the UNSC, higher than any nation in the world? Was it justified, or during a pandemic, is that not the genocide? I think it is. I think it's a worthy argument. At least find out if they're just as guilty as James Coates. And if they aren't in jail for it, then James Coates should be released too. That's my argument. Thanks, everybody. Share. Don't be afraid. A lot of people like to be warriors on Facebook. This is real. This is credible. This is your medal, your merit, your worth. Are you a real one or not? Can you put your name forward? Try something on the international community. Even get an answer, knowing what we're up against here. It's all up to all of you. I hope more people come on board. We're at 100 names, or 130 names as of this morning, just before I did the video. We're stalling out here. I need a minimum of 70 more Canadians. Come on, people, get it shared out. I'm glad with all the shares. It's only at 1,000 views. A lot of people don't want to look at it, but I'm going to tell you all something this. Freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of so many of your chartered rights and freedoms are there. Do you want to lose those too? Because you will, and you already are. When do you say enough? When do you think it's just these ones? Whether you believe in this religious side of it or not is not the issue. It's the fact the right exists. If you let them wipe this one out, they will wipe them all out. You can say goodbye unions, because if they get away with this, they'll get away with that one. And it goes on and on and on. Business is struggling. You know you are. It may be a civil right, not a charter right, but they will get you too. It's all about kissing the minority group. And when I say minority, we're not talking race. That could be in religion. That could be in small business group. That can go on and on into all kinds of smaller size of any issue you bring to the table. When they start buying those votes and use it to go against the majority, it's to take away those rights. And if those minority groups think that they won't be targeted after you break the big one, think again. We all have to come together as Albertans, as Canadians, get this done. If they take away from freedom of religion, they will take away all the rest. And before you know it, you won't have any left. Come together. See the wisdom in this. Let's find out the truth. There's no other Canadian who's done this kind of work, who's ever brought this forward. That's a fact. You'll see internationals jump on my Facebook all the time saying hello, like stuff. I've been on that stage. I'm not out to lunch. I've done more work with Russia than anybody else currently in many, many years. I've done more with the 50 states of USA than any Canadian's done in 5 to 7 years. Elected politicians included. That should scream out to all of you, something's very wrong. I've gone out to more than half of Africa's nations. 26 countries, and I'm still going. Do you think any other Albertan or Canadians done that? No. Do you think they even know what they're talking about when they get into Black Lives Matter? And then you look at the Africa Union and what they're doing with independence and colonialism? There's a great amount of education that has to go across Canada. So many need to learn so much. This party, the Canadian Constitutionalist Party, that is the vehicle. And we're getting there. This petition is just one of a great, tremendous amount of works that are in progress, have already been done, and will go forward. Are we going to win every battle? No. But think of it as a game of cards where the deck is shuffled every time you get to play your hand. And you hope you finish well. Win as many as you can. This is one more card game. We're going to have many more. Be brave. Don't be fearful. Put your name forward. Get this shared out. We need 200. The longer you wait, the more rights and freedoms you're going to lose. If we don't get 200 signatures, the UNSC won't read the letter. That's reality. Come on, people. Bring it on. You just have to leave your name or email me, and I'll post that in the title too. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye now.